This is ABC 7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. Topping our news tonight, it was about the deaths of 5 Dallas police officers and so much more. In Dallas today, it was a day of unity and remembrance for the men in blue who died protecting protesters. 5 chairs sat empty except for a folded American flag in honor of the fallen. President Obama and former President Bush stood side by side during the interfaith service. No politics today. The focus instead on the slain officers and the families they left behind.
Too often we judge other groups by their worst examples, while judging ourselves by our best intentions.
The pain we feel may not soon pass, but my faith tells me that they did not die in vain. I believe our sorrow can make us a better country. I believe our righteous anger can be transformed into more justice and more peace.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz flew on Air Force One at the president's invitation today. Last month, Senator Marco Rubio did the same when he traveled to Orlando following the shooting at the Pulse nightclub. Here on the Suncoast, Sarasota's branch of the NAACP is hosting its own response to recent shootings through a community conversation with law enforcement. The event will be at Bethel CME Church from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. It will be held at the Bethel CME Church that evening.
Let's just sit down and have some open, frank conversation on what can we do in Sarasota to continue to work with one another and to make sure that these issues that we're seeing in other communities across the country don't happen in our community, because it only takes one incident.
Tomorrow's meeting is open to the public. Well, that didn't take long, but Senator Bernie Sanders is finally endorsing his former Democratic rival Hillary Clinton for president. Sanders says she can take on issues like income inequality, climate change, and student debt. He also says presumptive Republican nominee Donald Trump doesn't share those values. Sanders has avoided endorsing Clinton for weeks, but made today's endorsement following major changes to the Democratic Party platform. It is a summit of sorts. What problem binds us all together here on the Suncoast? Well, traffic. Sarasota County Commissioners gave their approval for a nearly $2 million comprehensive traffic study. It will review the timing of all traffic lights in the county. Manatee County has already approved a similar project with the Department of Transportation. Sarasota's City Commission will vote on the project next month. New details continue to emerge over the huge drug bust in Manatee County. The sheriff's office seized more than $700,000 worth of heroin, cocaine, and other narcotics from locations across Bradenton and Palmetto. Deputies also took possession of more than 30 firearms and $439,000 in cash. The sheriff's office says the operation required massive amounts of resources.
This is an investigation that takes a ton of time, and we used a ton of people to get this done. It started back in October of last year.
Robert Reyes is accused of being the ringleader. He and his wife and his sister were also arrested. 42 dogs, many malnourished, were also rescued in the raid. They have been taken to the Manatee County Animal Services. With the addition of the dogs from the raid, Manatee County Animal Services is now over capacity by 100 dogs. The center is requesting volunteers and foster families to help care for the animals. Manatee Animal Services is a no-kill shelter. A new University of South Florida study shows that the Turning Point's homeless shelter is saving Manatee County more than $40 million each year. Turning Points operates on a budget of about $2.5 million per year from grants, donations, and local funding. Researchers looked at the number of people who utilized Turning Point's health and social services. The value of the service is calculated based on how much it would cost if those people ended up in emergency rooms or jail instead. A follow-up tonight on the City of Northport's policy where boats can be parked. Today, city commissioners voted to temporarily stop fining boat owners for keeping their vessels in front of their homes. The Northport Boat Owners Association launched a petition weeks ago to change the code. And speaking about boating, how is it out on the waters? Because there been some rough weather the last 2 days.
Right. We are getting back into that pattern as we talked about yesterday, and more storms are already starting to fire up on some outflow from some big storms in the interior portions of our viewing area. Alan, right now some heavy rainfall into Hardee County near Wauchula and Bowling Green, and spreading northward into Polk County. Looks like up to 40 to 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts associated with those cells. You can see the outflow, that little line that you see moving toward the coast is creating that line of showers from Northport all the way over now to Siesta Key. So that line will continue to move off toward the west-northwest, and other showers will be popping up as it continues to move into the Gulf of Mexico. But right now, by far the heaviest storms are located into Wauchula, as I mentioned, near Bowling Green, spreading northward into Polk County. This one particular cell near Northport, down to street level we go on I-75 near West Price Boulevard, getting some heavier rainfall there with a few lightning strikes. And then that rain now moving through Fruitville, Bee Ridge, and all the way over toward Siesta Key now. That will continue to move toward Lido here in the next 10 to 15 minutes, so get ready for some rain near the Ringling Bridge. The high today was a hot one, nearly a record 95 degrees, and 76 was the morning low. Currently at the airport, it's clear right now, but some clouds on the way. As I mentioned, that line of showers developing. And things are fairly quiet in the tropics. This large area of brown that you see here in the Atlantic is actually associated with some Saharan dust. It's keeping the tropics quiet right now. It may actually shut down our afternoon and evening thunderstorm pattern next week as it moves over our particular area. Well, more storms are expected again tomorrow afternoon and evening. Some of those could be heavy as well. A light chop, though, for boaters. Boating looks to be good in the morning, getting a little bit worse in the afternoon and evening when those storms are around. The extended forecast does call for pretty good chance for showers and storms every day. You can almost set your watch by it over the upcoming 7 days, Alan.
That time of year.
That's right.
All right. Thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, officers are leaving the Venice Police Department for better pay. Find out how the chief is working with the city to raise wages. That story when we come back.
Need new windows? Buy direct from the factory. New South Window is having a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Buy 4 windows, save 25%. Buy 6 windows, save 30%. Buy 8 or more windows and save 35%. How? Because New South owns the factory and you cut out the middleman. Award-winning, energy-efficient windows and doors installed with a lifetime warranty. New South Windows are made in Florida for Florida homes by Florida workers. Visit newsouthwindow.com or call now.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names. They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
Call right now to get your free Senior Care Compass ebook. Find out about the 5 best-kept secrets on financing senior care and assisted living.
Call now, 800-290-0352. 800-290-0352.
ABC 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you weeknights at 5.
In Venice, police officers have been leaving at an alarming rate. The result, some shifts are short-staffed and some are concerned that public safety may be in jeopardy. ABC 7's Christopher Brantley joins us with more. Christopher.
Oh, good evening, Alan. That high turnover rate is something the city of Venice has seen before. Last December, a number of high-ranking officials left after a change in retirement benefits. Now the police are seeing a similar situation, but this time, instead of benefits, it's compensation. Officer Sean Hammett is a school resource officer at Venice High School.
It has been fantastic. It's been everything I thought it would be, and then some.
Officer Hammett has been with the Venice Police Department since he moved from police work in Georgia in 2010.
You know, I'd heard when I come in here that, you know, basically at Venice Police, someone either had to die or someone had to retire before they hired anyone. So I was really excited. It seemed like a perfect fit for me.
It might be the right job, but when he got it, the salary schedule was changed. It went from a step program, meaning you get paid for performance and how much training you get, to a base pay. That means Officer Hammett makes $45,000 a year, while his counterpart at Venice High makes $67,000.
It wasn't what I signed up for, let's just say that. But at the same time, it doesn't change the way I do my job.
But it does change the chief of police's job.
And my concern is that officers are going to see that there is maybe a financial advantage for working for another surrounding agency.
Chief Tom Mattmuller is trying to convince his officers, like Hammett, that could be making better money elsewhere, that help is just around the corner.
We looked at approximately 14 officers that have left the department. Pretty much all of them have stayed and maintained careers in law enforcement, staying local.
Those 14 officers have left the department in a hole, many of them receiving hours of training equaling thousands of dollars. The city government is offering the police department $163,000 more towards next year's budget to pay officers on par with surrounding agencies.
Yeah, we are talking about some positions as much as $10,000 and $15,000 out of whack. That's a lot of money.
While it may seem like a no-brainer to pay police officers equal to their job and training, it's not that simple. They're all in the police union, and their contract cannot be changed yet.
Their current contract does not expire until next year. And what's myself and a few others what we're afraid of, how many more people will leave us in the next 12 months.
Venice Councilman Bob Daniels wants to work with the police union to change the contract, but he may not be able to until next year when negotiations begin on the next contract. Meantime, the chief has to hire more officers, but that alone can be pricey.
There's a lot of time and money spent in hiring officers and building their careers, and then for them to leave and go to another agency isn't the best financially, fiscally responsible way of operating the police department.
For Officer Hammett, they have some more time. He says he loves the department, but as the years go by and he watches others make more money, it gets harder and harder to stay where he is.
I can't tell you how much I respect our chief for taking the stand that he has and the support he has from the officers doing what he's doing. And I think it's a really positive, great thing. It's certainly keeping me to look to the future.
Those 14 officers that left the department all said the same thing. They love the Venice Police Department, and many wish they could have stayed, but the money was better elsewhere. And Alan, how could a person with a family turn down more money?
Absolutely. Thanks, Christopher. And when we come back, we'll speak with Venice's police chief and a city council member, so stay with us.
Is your old garage door stuck or broken? Would a new one give you a lift? Let Precision Door Overhead Garage Door Service of Sarasota come to the rescue with prompt and affordable repair service. Replacement doors come with an array of styles and colors, and they are rated to meet and exceed Florida standards. From estimates to installation, your satisfaction is our priority. If you're not 100% satisfied with any product, service, or installation, we will make it right, because Precision Door Service is a name you can trust.
Is your mop a dirty, disgusting mess? You need the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System, the only mop and bucket that spins the dirt away. A system that cleans practically anything and everything with super absorbent microfiber. Dip it in the washer side and the mess releases into the bucket. Then place it in the dryer side and push on the pedal. You get a clean mop pad that's practically dry and ready for more. And your hands will never again touch a dirty, disgusting mop. The heads are washable and reusable. Get the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System for just 2 payments of $19.99. You'll also get a Sticky Buddy, the reusable sticky roller that picks up pet hair and lint and washes clean in seconds. You can take advantage of our 2-for-1 Pick It Up special and get a second spin mop set. Just pay additional shipping and fee. And we'll upgrade you to free priority handling. So don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-394-1524 to get your Hurricane Spin Mop double offer. So hurry and call 1-800-394-1524. Call now.
They took that stress and that tension when I was particularly feeling very bad after that nasty car accident, and it was such a relief to know that I didn't have to bear that burden alone, that I had help.
Our goal is to not just get a satisfactory settlement on their case. We want them up on their feet, happy again. They've gotten their life back.
Joining us for more on tonight's topic is Venice City Council member Bob Daniels, Venice Police Chief Tom Mattmuller, and ABC 7 reporter Christopher Brantley. Thank you all for being here. And gentlemen, I want to give our viewers some context in terms of how did we get here. Christopher, in his story, talked about the STEP program that was based upon the last contract, I believe 2010, during difficult economic times. So was that contract the result of where Venice was at the time?
Absolutely. What happened in 2010 was the contracts with the Fraternal Order of Police in the city of Venice eliminated the step plan that was in place. And the police department was also asked to cut about $1 million from the budget. So fortunately at that time with retirements, we did not replace those positions. Well, as the years have gone on now, we've had officers that have basically been frozen in their pay steps. They've continued to advance in their careers, take on additional responsibilities, but their pay has basically stayed the same.
Chief, is this similar to what a lot of municipalities, not only in our area but across the country, have had to deal with after the Great Recession of 2008, that your senior employees are making one pay level, but those coming aboard subsequently are making less?
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that we're seeing too is that a lot of the officers, myself included, hired in the 1990s, those officers now are finishing up their careers 25, 30 years on. So there are a lot of agencies that are experiencing turnover just from retirements, and there is a lot of competition between agencies looking for those good applicants and also recruiting from within other agencies.
Commissioner, council member, I would imagine that this creates a difficult situation for the leaders of the community, that they are handcuffed, to use that terminology, to the economy when it's good and when it's bad. And when there is a prolonged slowing down of the economy, that means that essential city services like the police department are affected like that. What's the way out?
Well, that is a dilemma when you have the general fund being funded primarily through ad valorem taxes, property taxes. And when the economy went sour, the property values went down. We never adjusted any tax millage, but we lost revenue, several $1 million, and we also laid off about 80-some people. And that is a problem, having especially public safety linked to property tax. And that's the reason why I proposed a couple of meetings ago on our fire department is taking them out of the general fund and setting up an enterprise fund using fire tax fees, which would not fluctuate. But that is a big problem that can happen to us in the future here as we get a big drop in the economy. And they were asked to give $1 million, which kind of worried us because we're not on council, none of us are public safety officials, but we had to cut a lot of money out of the budget to survive.
Well, are all municipalities in the same boat, or are other communities, cities, smaller or larger, doing it differently to avoid this situation in tough economic times?
Yeah, I think absolutely. You've seen cities, counties throughout the state of Florida that have had to make some drastic cuts, and either from equipment, staffing, pay.
But have they changed their funding mechanism to make central, these services immune from the ups and downs of the economy?
I would say what I'm seeing in the public safety area, in the fire department, I'm seeing a movement around the county here to go to a fire tax fee, which does not fluctuate. And I think that would be, unfortunately, I don't see how we could do it with the police department, but we are going to look into that. We're hiring a consultant, and I know our city manager's already talked to Northport, which has one. And of course, the county has one. But we're finding that around us, most people are funding the fire department with a fire tax fee, not property taxes.
Chris, you have your finger on the pulse down there. What are officers telling you in terms of, has this resulted in increased stress, morale issues? I know the officer that you dealt with thinks a lot about the chief and the department, and it's a quality of life issue to be able to work and live down there. But what kind of toll and impact is this having?
Well, the same thing is always said. They love the Venice Police Department, and they love where they work. You heard in the story, the officer we talked to said it's very hard to get a job there because people stay, because they like it there, usually. And this officer specifically said he wants to stay there for his career, but he can't necessarily do that because he could be making money elsewhere. And while he's been there for several years and hasn't gotten that pay raise, he said the same thing that we've heard several times: if I could get that pay raise, then I would absolutely stay. His counterpart, as we said in the story, is making quite a bit more than he is.
And what impact does that have on when you have one person doing a job at so much less than somebody who is working right down the street?
Well, you could call it a morale issue. The officer we spoke to is an SRO, the school resource officer at Venice High School, and he says while he's very much so loves his job, it does harm him, and he does think about it at nights, and it does keep him up at night. So I would definitely classify it as a morale issue.
All right, now it's important to note that the City Council just today voted to put more money into a fund so police officers could make more money, but you have a collective bargaining issue here, Chief, if you could explain that.
Well, one of the things we'll have to do now is the union, the Fraternal Order Police, and the City of Venice will have to come to some type of agreement. What we're going to be asking to do is open up the contract, renegotiate the pay schedule.
Before the contract is...
Before the contract it doesn't open up for another year. So if we can open the contract up this October, reschedule the pay structure, and then hopefully move forward. We're trying to prevent the officers that are hiring on and leaving, because the amount of money that I'm spending recruiting and just retaining the officers, the amount of money that is spent taking on that initial officer and getting maybe only 1 or 2 years out of them and having them leave and go to another agency, I basically just paid for that agency to have a experienced officer with certificates and training in radar laser detection, criminal investigations, traffic homicide investigations, extensive training that we're not benefiting from.
Bob, how much money has the council put into the pot here, and is it enough over the long term?
Well, we took what the chief and the union person recommended. It was $160,000. That is to take care of the gaps we have. And I want to say this, these people are not talking about $1,000 or $2,000. You're talking about $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. And that's like $1,000 a month that person could be bringing in, moving somewhere else in the county. So it's a lot of money, and it really, to Chris's point there, it hurts our morale when the person's going home and saying to the family, well, I'm making $10,000 less, that's $1,000 a month. It's pretty hefty. In fact, if we're only talking about a couple thousand, I don't think we have a big issue, but the gap is pretty wide on some of these positions.
Let's talk about the larger historical issue here. I remember back in the 90s when the crime bill was passed under President Clinton, the federal government flipped the bill for 100,000 new police officers. That was for a certain period of time. I would imagine it helped a lot of communities like Venice, and then the money went away. Is this something that needs to be done once again, especially in the context of everything that we're dealing with over the last couple of weeks in terms of more emphasis on police training and morale issues and building a better community?
Yeah, I think definitely. I'm looking at it as just how it impacts the city of Venice. That's my responsibility. But I can tell you, after speaking with other sheriffs and other police chiefs from the state of Florida, yes, it's a state problem, but even bigger, it is a national problem.
Because the issue becomes, is this something that, when it comes to at least pay and training, is this something that Venice can fix on its own, or does the city, just like many other municipalities, need help?
Well, I think definitely looking at the budget that I presented, with the amount of money that I've spent on hiring and training new officers, that money can be better spent on paying them or training them in additional advanced training, career growth. So I think with what's being proposed is going to be the answer for us, for the city of Venice.
Christopher, are by and large residents aware of these issues, these challenges, and if so, what are they saying about it?
It's not... I'll take a step back and say the issue that they've seen with the fire department has been widely talked about for years, and so a lot of people know about that. This issue seems to be coming up fairly recently, and from what I've gotten, not a whole lot of people know about it, although people have a very great respect for the Venice Police Department. I would say this is probably something that's coming up just now, that at least we're hearing about, and it's pretty new to residents right now.
Right, Chief, I just want to end, and we have less than a minute left, but I want to just see how you and your officers are doing this week. It's been a horrific week for police, law enforcement, and our communities dealing with the issues that we have. How are you doing?
We're doing well. I'll tell you, we've gotten a lot of support. We've gotten everything from cookies and cards. The other day I was out and a lady came up to me and gave me a nice hug, said she was praying for me. She had tears in her eyes. So we are definitely very much appreciated. And I talking with my officers, sending them out actually an email, letting them know that our community does appreciate us. We are appreciated. So I think it's important that we hear that, and it's also important for our families.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Florida Studio Theater presents the 8th Annual Sarasota Improv Festival, July 14th through 16th. 3 days of non-stop comedy with 18 groups from New York City, Atlanta, Austin, Boston, Chicago, Columbia, Canada, Orlando, and more. The laughter will be unlimited. Don't miss what Daly City says is non-stop lunacy. Featured acts will include premier improv group Impro Theater. Improv Festival passes and tickets are on sale now. 941-366-9000 or visit floridastudiotheater.org.
That's Chuck, proud homeowner, regular do-it-yourselfer. Today he's attempting an electrical repair. This is Pablo. He's an electrician with Mr. Sparky. How's he doing, Pablo?
Terrible, Mike.
Yeah. What Chuck doesn't realize is that almost 68,000 home fires are caused every year by electrical problems.
What?
If he doesn't have the proper tools and training, he's liable to start the next one.
Little help here!
That's what I'm talking about.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
You might want to write that number down.
Whether you're a homeowner looking for a professional installation or a contractor looking for top quality products, Sarasota Glass and Mirror can meet your every need.
For 42 years, Sarasota Glass and Mirror has been the area's premier supplier and installer of quality glass products for your home or business. As an authorized PGT WinGuard dealer, we know how to protect your home with everything from the PGT WinGuard impact-resistant windows and doors to shower enclosures and decorative mirrors. The Sarasota Glass and Mirror team has the knowledge to tackle any project.
The judge has finally ruled in the Sunshine lawsuit against Susan Chapman, and he has sided in her favor. There will likely be an appeal, but here's what you have to say. Carol Levy writes, her stubborn insistence on proving that she is right makes her a rigid, right-fighting person, not a person who can see another point of view and find a compromise that is in the best interest of the people she says she serves. And Dan Koritsky writes, the government has a responsibility to protect the rights of community groups and citizens to meet with their elected representatives. This lawsuit threatens that right. Winning will be worth the expense. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation about tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/news at 7. And that is all the time we have for this evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alan Cohn. Have a great night.